connect the faces of local business with our community and help you get your message out. As always, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy Friday to join us. Today's business host is our long-standing friend, Tina Colson, representing Equity Advantage. Before we get to our host, do we have any new people here today? Not seeing anybody new.
I see that Trip Ride is just entering right now, and I think it's been a while since he's been there, but you can check with him later.
Boy, it's been such a long time since we've seen Trip. It's like he's a new person. Just to make certain everybody remembers what we're doing, after we hear from our host, we're going to have our Executive Director, Liz Hartman. She'll keep us abreast of everything that's happening in our community with any announcements and opportunities. And then we'll introduce any new people who've come on the line. And then we'll break into some small groups for a chat before we come back to share and do shout outs. So Tina, it's been so long since we've had the opportunity to see you, and now you've changed gears and everything. So I'm super excited to hear more about yourself for the people that don't know you and Equity Advantage.
I got to unmute, right? There we go. So thank you so much, Christopher, and always great to see everybody. Even though we can't be in person, at least we get to see each other online. So that's second best. So I am Tina Colson. I work for Equity Advantage and Ira Advantage, sister companies. Equity Advantage was founded 30 years ago by David and Tom Moore, which many of you may know, very active in the community of Lake Oswego. We are located in the Lincoln Towers, but we work nationally, which is great. And I would say 50% of our business is Oregon and the other 50% is national. So it's just a good blend. I've known the Moore family for over 20 years, and my career background has been in mortgage, title, and real estate. I spent the last 12 years prior to Equity at Providence Foundations, where I worked in the charitable sector of helping investors who wanted to donate their homes to a charitable organization. And so that also ties in with what I do today as an exit strategy. But as soon as the opportunity was presented to myself to jump over to Equity Advantage, I certainly did so. They have a great reputation, and I'm just thrilled to be here now. So with that, during the next few minutes, I just hope to give you a quick education on the 1031 exchange, some examples of how it can be used, and then answer any questions that you may have moving forward. So for those of you unfamiliar with the 1031, it is an IRS ruling. It's an authorized process that lets real estate investors exchange like kinds of property while deferring the capital gain and depreciation recapture over to the new property. So if you were to sell a property that you held for investment and the funds came directly to you at closing, the IRS would claim their share of the capital gain and depreciation recapture. By hiring a qualified intermediary, or QI as we call it, like Equity Advantage, the funds are then shifted to our account that we hold for you as a third party. And then we use those funds to purchase your new property. Because you never had constructive receipt of those funds, the IRS is satisfied and the tax is deferred across and over. So that's how it all works. And a couple of key elements that I just want to share with you with exchanges. So the property that you are selling must have been held for investment. And the property that you are purchasing is going to be a like-kind property with the intent to hold for investment. But there are a few fun things in here that I'm going to share that you can do with that. So like-kind simply means that it's real property. You could sell bare land and purchase a single-family residence. You could sell a duplex and purchase a commercial property. It doesn't matter. Again, so long as it's held for investment is the key. And then to be fully tax deferred, you need to go across or up in equity and value. So many people, when they come to us, they think that they just have to give their gain or cover their gain in an exchange, which is not true. The IRS says, wait a minute, we want you to grow this investment, not go down in value. So let's say you sell a property for $500,000. You can deduct the real estate commission and other closing costs, giving you a net sales price, let's say of $450,000. When shopping for your next investment, that $450,000 is the key number to be fully tax deferred. let's say find a property for 440,000, you're going to simply be exposing that $10,000 difference, and that will be taxable to you or have that tax exposure. So that is what's going on. So it's not all or nothing. You can definitely pull cash out of a transaction, just know that it's subject to tax. So there's several types of exchanges that we do. And the most widely used is the delayed exchange, where you sell first and then you buy later. So the process is fairly simple in that one. Let's say you have a rental property, you place it on the market, and now you have an accepted offer with the closing date of April 1st. Once escrow has been set up, that's when you would hire us as your QI. And when the property closes on April 1st, two things happen. So the proceeds are transferred to us, but a clock starts ticking. You've got 45 days from April 1st to identify up to 3 properties of any value. And you've got 180 days to close on one or more of those properties to complete the exchange. Once the exchange is completed, any remaining funds coming back to you, again, taxable. If we've used up all your money, you're tax deferred and you're good to go. So another example, if you own land and you want to build ground up on that, we have what's called an improvement exchange. We also offer reverse exchanges where you buy first and sell later. The improvement and the reverse exchange are more costly, but if needed, they are available to accomplish our clients' end goals. So a lot of people may come to us and say, I've held this land for a long time. I've got these other investment properties. I'm ready to build on that land. We can go ahead and use those exchange funds to build ground up and complete that transaction. They still have 180 days to complete that transaction. So that's the tricky part with that one. The other part is a partial exchange. So let's say you have a farm where you have a primary residence, but the rest of the land is used for investment. So think of maybe a tree farm or vineyards, RV or boat storage. We can defer the tax on the income producing portion of that land or building. And then your personal residence is just kept separate in that transaction. So we have a lot of those coming through. Excuse me, drink of water. 5 minutes is a long time. So one of my favorites, and it's becoming increasingly popular just because of our markets, especially here in Portland, is you can actually sell your investment property and you can purchase your dream retirement home. So I know you're saying, wait a minute, I thought I couldn't do personal residence. It had to be investment. So you just have to know the rules of the game. So that's what I'm here for. You can do a personal residence and it will qualify for 1031, but you have to hold it for investment for at least a year or two before you move into it. When you do that, you're now going to end up with a proration of tax if you should sell that property someday. And the other best thing is you could just name your heirs as beneficiary on that property. When they inherit that property, now they get a step up in basis to current market value, which means all of that gain and depreciation recapture has been wiped clean. So a lot of our investors are moving into that realm and picking up and going where they want to go and living out their lives and just enjoying it. So lastly, second or vacation homes can also be eligible for the 1031 treatment. Just depending on the situation, there's different rules that apply, and I'm happy to talk that through with you at another time. So deep breath, that was a lot to cover. I could go on with more examples, but I would like to take the time to see if anybody has questions.
I guess I'll just jump in. Just to be clear, does Equity Advantage operate as the qualified intermediary in the transaction, or do you have somebody else for that?
No, we are the QI in the transaction.
So in that case, do you also do that in the case of Delaware statutory trust transactions?
Yes, so you can exchange into a DST. And that again is becoming more popular nowadays because, and for those of you unfamiliar with a Delaware Statutory Trust, or a DST as they're known in the industry, it is a portfolio of properties that is held that you basically are buying a percentage into, and they turn every 5 to 7 years on the investment. You then have the option of exchanging out of that DST into another real property that you want to control, or you can do the passive investment with the DST again. And with that, it's all held through securitized brokers. And it's not a product that we sell, but it's definitely one that we pass along for people who are looking for a different exit strategy or a passive investment. Great question, Derek.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you. That's great.
I've
You're
got,
welcome.
I've got a question.
Yes.
I'm sorry, and I came in late, so I'm going to qualify this with maybe you already brought this up, and then you can just ignore me and tell me, well, that's what you get for being late. In terms of replacement property,
Yes.
do you have referral sources for folks who are looking for replacement property, or do you have like a bullpen of just listings that you have kind of at your fingertips? It's so hard for folks to sometimes find that property.
Right. So we do have what's called Post 1031 Exchange, and it's a website that was set up probably 10 years ago for our investors specifically. And again, because we're nationwide, and it's a free service if agents want to post on it, or you can purchase a premium space in that. But post 1031, you can post any type of property up there. And again, it's viewed nationwide. Otherwise, most of the folks have already identified property. I would say 70% come to us and they already know what they want on the other side, or they work with agents that are in that area of what they're going to purchase. Great question. Thank you, Anastasia.
I have a comment, a question.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Tina. Great to see you.
Great to see you too.
Yeah, Tina did a great job, but they also have IRA Advantage.
Yes.
And it's amazing what they can do with your IRA money, where you can invest in almost anything and have quite a tax saving. So Tina may want to mention that. And I've had some buyers or clients that have worked through IRA Advantage and Equity Advantage, and they do a great job for my clients. So it's a really great company, and it's amazing what they can do for you in terms of saving you lots of money. So
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the IRA, what you can invest in.
Thank you, Lynn, and we appreciate you as a business partner and a client as well. And so the IRA Advantage piece, and I was running out of time, so thank you for bringing this up. It's our sister company, and it was formed during the last crash, the last real estate crash around 2008. And IRA Advantage, what we do, we facilitate the self-directed IRA, which is what Lynn was referring to. We are not a custodian. We simply help you set up the LLC and everything around it. But it allows folks to transfer their standard IRA, 401k, or Roth into a truly self-directed account to diversify their funds outside of Wall Street offerings. So IRAs can invest in anything, except for collectibles, life insurance contracts, sub and an S corp. And it's rarely the investment that the problem. It is working with disqualified parties, and a disqualified party would be if you wanted to purchase a piece of property and put your kid in it as they go to college. You can't do that because you cannot have a linear ascended or descended benefit from that property, and it's also tied to you. So those are just some of the things that you got to watch for. But you can purchase notes, loans, precious metals. Again, real estate. Real estate is probably one of the biggest things that folks are purchasing when they come to us. So thank you, Lynn. Anybody else?
Well, Tina, that was absolutely fantastic. Quite a mess of alphabet soup with some of those things. All I know is with my ice cream, I don't want any RBST in my ice cream. That's what I understand. But does anybody else have any final questions for Tina? I'm looking for hands. All right. Well, thank you so much, Tina. That is great. And how fantastic to get to see you today.
Yes, thank you so much. Great to be here. And thanks for allowing me to host and share.
Absolutely. Liz, I'm breaking up. Do you want to take over some announcements?
I would love to take over some announcements. It has been an interesting week everywhere. I think most of us have dug out of the debris problem from the last couple of weeks, but if you still have debris, you can drop it off at either of the high schools on Saturday, where they will take debris until about 3 o'clock. Would like you to know that the Lake Grove Farmers Market opens for the first time on Sunday from 1 to, I believe it's 1 to 4 p.m. And it will be on Sundays through April 25th over in the Lake Grove area, Mercado Grove. We have 5 new members for the chamber from February: Cafe and Bar Marzoka, Royalty Solutions, Will Fendon Properties, Nectar Juice Bar, and Carrie Wellhauser Real Estate. And we look forward to welcoming them in the coming weeks to Friday Networking. I think most of you saw the notice that the Oregon Commercial Rent Program opens on March 8th. If any of you are landowners who have a business that owes you back rent, the landowner needs to make the application first. And if you know of any businesses that have a problem with back rent because of COVID, please take a look at the Oregon Commercial Rent Program. They will need to have their landlord file the first application. It opens on March 8th. There are a few details on it, but it is open to all the landlords who have tenants who owe them money. Also want to let you know that vaccinefinder.org or going to the Oregon Health Authority will help you with any of your loved ones or you who are looking for vaccines. The announcement last night was that the Safeway, Albertsons, and Walgreens will be getting double the amount next week. So just keep watching week to week. And Kim Clifton just sent that Oregon restaurant workers will be eligible by May 1. So we'll be putting those announcements in the newsletter, and you will see those as we go forward. The city of Lake Oswego will be talking about community policing on March 9th, and you do need to sign up for that. And community policing is of interest to our business community. So if you can take a couple hours to listen in and give your feedback, there will be sessions going on over probably the next 3 months on how to structure community policing for Lake Oswego. And with that, I think that's it for the February announcements, Christopher.
Thank you so much, Liz. And true to form, we're now going to break into some small groups where we can chat about a couple of different things. What is the main thing you'd like us to have on our mind when we think about you and your business if we meet somebody who's interested? And then also, have there been any great things to come out of this period of time that you plan on carrying forward? We could just use those as a nice little starter. And then, of course, talk amongst yourselves, whatever you like.
Very good. I'm going to send you into your groups. One person will be a facilitator to make sure that everybody gets to speak. You'll have 12 minutes, and we're going to give you a 3-minute warning today when it gets down to the